Hi there guys and welcome back to week 6 here of the Reading Roundup. My name is James and today we'll go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about all the latest news throughout Reading's last week. Now there hasn't been a huge lot of news that really has come out this week, so obviously we're going to be focusing on the two fixtures that we got to talk about today. Obviously the first game of the season being Blackpool away. We'll go into a little bit more depth than we did with the match review on Saturday, as obviously I've been able to see more highlights, more stuff's come out about the game. We'll also be talking about a transfer update. Reading haven't had too many rumours this week, but you know, we've still got some of the same transfers to talk about. We'll talk about some of the injuries that Reading have recently experienced, so we'll go through the injury list that we've currently got, and once again, as it was last season, it's a pretty big one. And then we'll go ahead and preview the Cardiff game and just take a little quick look at the Stevenage Cup game coming up on Tuesday. So to begin with, we'll go ahead and take a look at Reading's 1-0 loss to Blackpool. Listen, Reading played decent. Reading didn't play too bad. I would say that we were unlucky to come away with a loss here in this game. We ended up losing by a goal to 0. It was the Blackpool right back that ended up scoring. The name escapes me right now off the top of my head, which I'll go ahead and find for you now. But look, Reading, I thought, were quite unlucky to be defeated. The second half performance was miles better than the first half, and we didn't actually play too badly. Looking at some of the highlights and stuff, Reading were the more dominant team going into the second half. It was Callum Connolly that scored the goal for Blackpool. But the first half itself was a little bit of a shambles. It really was. Reading struggled to come out of the gates. The first 20 minutes, Blackpool really did dominate. Joe Lumley being forced to make a few good saves. And with the first goal as well, really was Joe Lumley making a save. And no Reading player was able to react to the ball being just straight into the box. He saved it, he's parried it out, and Ovie Ejaria just stood there and waited for the ball to come to his feet. Obviously Connolly has had the incentive to run onto the ball, and he's able to slam that into the back of the net. Listen, I think Joe Lumley might be a little bit disappointed that it went near post. I think he might have had a decent chance to get to it, but there was so much power behind that shot that it just blasted into the top of the corner. Talking about some of the stuff that Reading did, I don't like that Paul Ince played Tom Ince in the centre of midfield and not Ovie Ejaria. He played him more centrally than Ejaria, and I don't like that. I think that was the wrong move personally. I think when you look at the two players, Ejaria has obviously played centrally before. Tom Ince has never played centrally in his career, so I don't know why we're starting to play him there now. I think he's more of a winger. If we had Hoylett and Ejaria on the wings, and then we had Hoylett and Ince on the wings, and Ejaria playing centrally, I think that would have been a lot better of an option. But from everything that I've read on Twitter, it seems like it was the other way around. It seems like Ince was the more central of the two. I think he did switch it up in the second half, and obviously we saw Reading play a lot better in the second half. But still, I don't know why we're experimenting in the season. Actually, if you're going to do that in the cup games or do that in pre-season. Don't do that in the championship. Next thing I found, Mate really did struggle up top on his own, and he needs a strike partner next to him. Yaku Mate really does struggle to get into games when he's on his own. We saw that against Brighton. Obviously, Brighton's going to be the best team we play all season, but again, here against Blackpool, he should have finished some of the chances he's had. He got quite a few chances, and he just couldn't finish them. He had at least two. One of the chances that I saw right at the end of the game where the balls fell to him was a bit of a scramble in the box. It's gone up in the air. The balls fell to his feet. He's got nobody around him. Instead of volleying it and just lashing it top corner, well, like he's going to do that every time, but instead of lashing it at the keeper or just having a shot, he's decided to take a touch. We all know Yaku Mate doesn't have the greatest first touch. It's pinged off his foot and it's gone flying straight into the goalkeeper's arms. And we've ended up losing the possession and ended up losing the game. I think Mate really should have done better with that. He was in the box on his own. If you're a striker, you've got to be banging that. And unfortunately, his first touch let him down. He decided to go for a first touch. In terms of other things, Blackpool didn't really create too many chances, but the goal that they did score, the defending should have been much better. Obviously, I spoke about that just a minute ago. They also did create a chance where they hit the post, and again, Reading was so slow to react to that. They've hit the post from a shot. They've then carried on. He's carried on his run, the winger, and managed to get the rebound as well. Reading defenders have got to be reacting quicker than that, man. We've got to be much quicker to that. And yeah, it's just poor from Reading. Nesta Guinness-Walker was very poor as well. For that opportunity I was talking about there, he was the man that lost the ball. And yeah, it seems like they were targeting him throughout the whole of the game. Listen, it's his first game at championship level, so we'll have to see what's to come from him going forward. But look, seems like he had a bit of a poor one, if we're being 100% honest. Again, though, it's his first game. We can't judge him too badly because it's his first game at this level. I'm sure we've had players before that were poor in their first game and then they've become better. But listen, I don't know. When you speak to Wimbledon fans, when you hear it from Wimbledon fans, they're talking about how he wasn't that good. And yeah, obviously we saw that against Blackpool. I still think Reading's priority should be finding a left back or a left wing back throughout this pre-season. Paul Ince has been talking about in his interview, which I might as well speak about now, about how Naby Sarr, when he comes, he'll be playing centrally, and that can push Tom McIntyre out to the left back position. If we're playing left wing back, I don't think Tom McIntyre's a left wing back, but if we're playing as a left back, I think he's better suited there than left wing back anyway. So yeah, if we're going for a back four, I guess we're going to be seeing Tom McIntyre play a lot of left back this season. Last season, I didn't think he did too great there, but I didn't think he was poor, so it'd be interesting to see what Paul Ince goes for in terms of that. Talking about his interview as well, he spoke about how we've lost another 2 players for injury. Who the rumour is that I've read today that it was Yiadom and Yaku Mete, and if that's the case, that's like 2 of our best players. Like, that's probably our 2 best players going into this Cardiff game with who's fully fit, so that's going to be a massive, massive blow, especially if we've got no fit striker going into this Cardiff game, which that's going to be really disappointing. We might as well just move on to injuries then, especially if we're talking about that now. So yeah, we got 2 more injuries that he didn't say who it was, which I'm really disappointed about because I would love to have known who it is, because obviously we can then prepare. Obviously the fans can prepare, that is, anyway, for just being sad on Saturday. We've got Femi Aziz, who picked up a training injury. He's now out for 6 to 8 weeks. The kid's made of glass, honestly. The kid is just made of glass. Like, I'm not massively surprised that he's injured, but it's sad, and I really do hope that he comes back and does the best. But I spoke about this with his contract renewal when it came up, about how he's constantly injured, and maybe I wouldn't take a punt on him because he's a player that just cannot stay fit. He just always is injured, and listen, in training he gets injured and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks again. So Femi Aziz is going to be spending a little bit more time on the sidelines. We've then got a few more players that are 2 to 3 weeks away. We've got Sam Hutchinson, we've got Scott Dan and Lucas Schwal. Sam Hutchinson picked up an injury in the Brighton game. Obviously Scott Dan's been out for ages now, and Lucas Schwal picked up an injury as well in the Brighton game. Really disappointing that João got injured before the start of the season, because I think a lot of people that you see in social media and a lot of people that are pundits tip Reading to go down because of how Lucas Schwal can't stay fit. And he kind of proved them right straight away by getting injured in the last pre-season game. So that's really disappointing. That's really sad to see. Just be interesting to see what happens with João. I'm hoping he can come back and he can just start banging goals again. But you never know with Lucas João. He just can't stay fit. He's another one of them boys that just can't stay fit. Sam Hutchinson, I'm sad that he's injured, because obviously I'd like to see the passion from him. I think that's probably the reason why we didn't go with a back 5 as well against Blackpool. Obviously with Hutchinson being out injured. And Scott Dan brings that experience as well factor. So, you know, he's calm head. I'm sure he helps the boys out around the training ground a lot as well. So hopefully we can see Scott Dan come back. Listen, I think this, with Yaku Mete potentially being injured, Shane Long not being match fit, and Lucas Schwal being 2 to 3 weeks away, this could be the redemption arc of George Puskas. Come on, Paul, just put him in the team, please. I've been talking about George Puskas on this Reading Roundup every single time, because somehow he ends up making his way into this, because I talk about how I want him to start. And listen, we potentially could see George Puskas playing against Cardiff. Listen, for me, when I think of George Puskas versus Cardiff, I think of one of the best performances I've seen from a debuting player in a long time. And listen, could we see that again? Potentially. In terms of a transfer update, then we'll move on to the next subject. Naby Sarr is still awaiting approval from the EFL. Really, how long does this take? 4-year contract. We've literally seen him in a Reading shirt. Paul Ince has been talking about him like he is a Reading player. Ince is hopeful for next week, but surely it should be done by now. The guy's been sat in the Reading training room just for 2 weeks now. I'm sure he's been training with the players for 2 weeks. How long does it really take for him to come and for the EFL to approve the transfer? It's ridiculous that Reading have to go through all these hoops and all these games that the EFL want to play just to sign a player. Come on, man, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't agree with it, but it's what it is. We're under this transfer embargo at the moment, so we got to play the game if we want to be a part of it. And then finally, Mamadou Loum as well is awaiting a visa, so he's not going to be able to play on Saturday. He might be able to play in the cup game on Tuesday. Paul Ince is hopeful he can get one for then, but yeah, Loum still hasn't got a visa. I don't know how these things aren't sorted before we sign players. Like, that probably should have been sorted before we signed him, but I don't know. Maybe we just wanted to guarantee and get it over the line so that we've got the player, but personally think that should be something that should have been sorted out before he signed for Reading. Yeah. Amari Hutchinson as well is another one that, again, we spoke about last week, and again, he's a player that hasn't officially signed for Reading just yet, but all the talk is that he's officially signed. Paul Ince was very tight-lipped about it on his interview yesterday, so he didn't really speak too much about it, so be interesting to see, again, the developments that come through there. I think that's kind of been the theme of me throughout this video, saying that things are interesting. Finally, we'll go into the Cardiff preview then. That's going to be our last topic of today. Listen, the big thing for me in this game is that Renamotor will be returning to the Select Car Leasing Stadium for this fixture. Perry NG is going to be a player that's going to be suspended for this game. Obviously, he got sent off in the 1-0 win against Norwich. Big result for Cardiff, beating Norwich 1-0. A lot of people didn't really know where to put them this year. They didn't know if they'd be pushing for playoffs. They didn't know if they'd be bottom half of the table. So Cardiff have kind of had a really good start. And I'm hoping that was just first day fixtures and there was just anything can happen. And I'm hoping Reading can go ahead and show something here. But especially with the injuries we've got at the moment, I'm not massively confident. They can thank Romain Sawyers for that first goal as well. He scored on his debut. Quite a lot of new players in the Cardiff team. I saw Romeo, who used to play for Millwall, in there. Odawada, Renamotor, Romain Sawyers. There's quite a lot of new players in this Cardiff team. And that's kind of probably what they needed, because I feel like Cardiff have been stale for a few years now. Chevy Ojo as well. I feel like they've been a bit stale and probably needed a little bit of a freshen up for the last couple of years, especially with that football that they were playing under the last few managers. I don't think fans really enjoyed it too much. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what goes on there. Look, they didn't really create a lot of chances against Norwich. I don't think Norwich created a lot of chances against them either. So, again, is it going to be a Cardiff team that maybe the 1-0 result really did benefit them? Really did flatter them. So it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see what happens in this fixture. In terms of Reading options, I think we should go with Joe Lumley in goal. Obviously, at the moment, the rumour is that Andy Yeardom's out. So I guess I'll have to go for a Bertha at right back. We'll go for a back four, just because at the moment that's the only thing we can really play. We've got Nesta Guinness Walker playing left back, and then we've got McIntyre and Holmes in the middle. I'm very worried about playing them two wing backs there, Abrafa, I think it is, and Nesta Guinness Walker. That's not a lot of championship experience. That's 3 championship games experience between the two of them. Little bit worried about that one if that's going to be the team we go with. Then we're going to go ahead and have Jeff Hendrick and Tyrese Forner in the midfield. They were apparently quite poor against Blackpool, so it'll be interesting to see with my own eyes how they play. Then we'll have Ejaria, Ince and Hoylett as the front three, just behind the returning George Puskas at striker. Listen, Yakumete is meant to be out. Shane Long's not match fit. Lucas Schwell's out. It's time for George Puskas to come back. It's the redemption arc of George Puskas. He's going to start. He's going to score. We're going to win. No. Definitely getting ahead of myself there. But yeah, maybe this will be the redemption of George Puskas, and we'll finally see him return to the Reading team. In terms of a score prediction, I can't really make one. It's too early in the season for me to be making score predictions, but I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I said that in the Blackpool game as well, and I'm going to stick with it for the Cardiff game. Eventually, it's going to come true, as Reading don't really like to win games, so a draw or a loss will probably be the more spot-on prediction for this one. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in this game. I'm going to go with George Puskas to get the goal. If he don't start, then I don't know, Tom Ince will score, someone like that. Perfect, so that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed. It's been a little bit of a shorter Reading roundup today. There wasn't really too much news to talk about, and transfer rumours have started to die down. In terms of the Stevenage game, I did say I'd talk about that. It's not really too much to talk about. It's an EFL Cup round 1 game, so I don't know. Reading will win, we'll play the kids, and we'll get to round 2. That's going to be it for today's video, guys, though. I hope you have all enjoyed it. My name's been James. See you in the next one. Peace.